Hare Krishna.
Hare.
Welcome all of you to our Bhagavad Gita session 45. And we are on chapter 9. The objective of this class is to enable reading of the shlok, to understand the meaning of the shlok, and to help understand the basic philosophy of Gita. And we are on chapter 9. As we all know that there are 18 chapters in Bhagavad Gita, which is divided into 3 parts. The first part is 1 to 6, where Krishna talks about all Karma Yoga, Dhyan Yoga, and Gyan Yoga. And then from 7th to 12th, which is Bhakti Yoga. And from 13th to 18th, which is again Gyan Yoga. As it is said that the first 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita is like the lower portion, the lower part of the jewel box. The last 6 portion, which is from 13 to 18, is the lid of that jewel box. And what is inside, the jewels that you have inside, is basically from 7th to 12th part of Bhagavad Gita. It's a very confidential knowledge. So it is a jewel and it is kept in between both the parts, right? And we are on chapter 9, which is the center of all the jewels. So it is from 7 to 12, and we are in the middle of this chapter. And the last shlok of this chapter, which is the 34th shlok, it's called the essence of Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna has ensured that is in the middle, and it is the safest place where he has told that is the essence of Bhagavad Gita. Now, this chapter 9, is called the most confidential knowledge. Now, why this is the most confidential knowledge? Because Krishna is going to reveal himself. Krishna is going to reveal himself. Now, this is specifically, as we have seen in the first shlok that we talked about in the last class, this is for this particular thing that he's talking about. He says that it is very, very important that you should not envy Krishna. It is for people who don't envy Krishna. And why does it say so? He says that is one of the most important qualification for listening this chapter or understanding. You can listen, but you will not understand. To understand this chapter, the first qualification is you should not be envy of Krishna. Now, in the worldly terms, if I had to explain you, think about an all-rounder you have in your college. Now, he is a great person, he or she is a great person, and he's an all-rounder, is best in everything. Now, there'll be a group of people who will be admiring and liking to be with him and really, listen to whatever that person says. But there'll be a group of people who will always challenge him because they don't have faith in that person. He does not, they envy that person. So the people who are actually, understand that all-rounder and understand that, is not envying him. So when this person, this hero, tells something to those group of people, they will understand. But the other group will keep on challenging and criticizing. So he doesn't say that this confidential knowledge is not for those people who envy. So who are those people who are actually, they are the devotees of Krishna. They are the devotees. That is why it's said that if you have to understand Bhagavad Gita, you have to understand Bhagavad Gita in the association of devotees. Because when he is revealing, you can understand it because you are not envying. You want to understand him, how he became that, right? So that is why, that is like I'm giving you a worldly example. So this is the most confidential knowledge, and it could be understood that first characteristics is that you should not be envious of Krishna. Now, this chapter is divided into where Krishna is glorifying the knowledge he's going to reveal. From 4th shlok, he'll start revealing the knowledge. From 4th shlok, he will start revealing the knowledge. But in the first shlok, first 3 shlok, he's talking about he's glorifying that knowledge, what he's going to reveal from 4th shlok. And the 4th to 10th, so today we'll try to cover, try to cover 9th to 10th also, which is Aishwarya Gyan, relationship of Krishna with this world. And there are 2 more sections, and then we have glories from Padma Purana of 8th and 9th chapter. Now, I would like to summarize again, what we read in the last class. So in the last class, actually, I took you in detail about chapter number 7, and I also exposed we also read some shloks of chapter 8. Why? Because chapter 7 and chapter 9, they run parallel. Now, chapter 7 it is in concise. It's like, he has revealed, because of the first chapter he's talking about Bhakti Yoga. It is a very concise, summary sort. Now in ninth, he's going to detail it out. So what we read in chapter 7, the first shlok that Krishna said is, you have to hear. Hearing reveals knowledge about Krishna. So if you want to understand Krishna, you have to hear. The first thing is hearing. What we are doing today now, we are hearing. So first knowledge comes from hearing, right? Then what is going he talked about in the 7th chapter? He talked about Gyan and Vigyan about Krishna. What is Gyan? Gyan is knowledge. What are the energies of Krishna? That is Gyan. And Vigyan is realization of that knowledge. For example, we may know XYZ, but getting it absorbed when you have a realization, that is Vigyan. That is Vigyan, right? So he explained about the Gyan and Vigyan, right? Then he talked about how rare this knowledge. He says Manushyanam sahasreshu kashyatyapi siddhaye yat tamapi siddhanam kaschin mam veti tatvada. He said, out of thousands and thousands and thousands of people, hardly someone tries to go towards getting siddhi. And out of those thousands and thousands of thousands who goes towards siddhi, hardly anyone knows my tattva, my just some, hardly anyone can understand my essence. And then Krishna starts talking about Gyan part, which is about his energy. And he talked about his energy in different types. He explained only about two of his energy, which is his material energy, and then he talked about his spiritual energy. What is his material energy? I asked you to all visualize. Actually, if you see what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, anything and everything is Krishna. There's nothing without Krishna. So he talked about earth, the entire earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, false ego. These are his 8 material energies that he talked about, right? Then he talked about, so if you think about it, there's nothing after that, Then he talked about his spiritual energy. He says, these are my material energy, which is inferior. But then he said, there is my spiritual energy, which is higher to this, and that is the living entity, the soul, which is actually enjoying this inferior energy of mine, which is this material energy, right? And then he talked about that he is the origin and dissolution of everything. Anything and everything that is there, the origin and the dissolution is nothing but Krishna. And then we went into I took some shlokas from chapter 8, which talked about Kal, time. And I actually talked about what is time actually. Yeah, what is time? And that talks about the origin of universe. Yeah. So in the 8th chapter 17 shlok, which talks about when Krishna says, I'm the origin and dissolution of everything, then we talked about what exactly this whole cosmos, how this whole things are. So we all know about Yug. We know about which Yug is going on now? Kali Yuga is going on, right? No, we know there are 4 Yugs: Satyug, it is Satyug, Treta Yug, Dwapar Yug, and Kali Yug. These are the 4 Yugs that we know. We call it Chatur Yug, right? Now we talked about one day of Brahma. We talked about one day of Brahma. One day of Brahma is 1,000 into this 4 Chatur Yug. That is equal to 1 day of Brahma. And so this is 1 day. So basically the life of the universe is equal to life of Brahma. The life of the universe, Brahman, is equal to life of Brahma and life of universe, right? Now Brahma lives for 100 years. Brahma lives for 100 years. Now his one day is equal to 1,000 times Chaturyug. 1,000 times Chaturyug is 1 day. And the word that is called in Sanskrit, this 1,000 times 1 day, the word is called Kalpa. It's called Kalpa. When you hear the word Kalpa, it means 1,000 times Chaturyug, that is 1 day. And at the end of 1 day, what happens of the Brahma? What happens in this 1 day of Brahma? Everything gets created, and in the night of Brahma, which is also equal to 1,000 times Chaturyug, everything gets destroyed. Everything gets destroyed, and Brahma lives for 100 years. It means at the end of 100th day of Brahma, the entire Brahman, everything goes, it's called Mahapralay. Everything gets destroyed at the end of that. In the beginning, everything gets recreated. And then we talked about previous to that. So this is what the time call we discussed about, right? And basically, if you have to compare the life of Brahma, the 100 years of Brahma, if you have to compare in our years terms, then it is equal to 311 trillion years. 311 trillions of our time. So Brahma is also, so we talked about Garbhodaksha Vishnu, and we talked about that there is a, the lotus stem that comes from the navel of the Garbhodaksha Vishnu, and on the top there is a lotus on which Brahmaji is there. And in this stem, all our 14 planetary, all the lokas are there. And this is, we are on Earth. Yeah. Above that, we have 6 more loks, which 7th is the way the Brahma is, and then we have 7 down. And if you can see the Padmak temple in Kerala, that is where you can see the Garbhodaksha Vishnu with the lotus thing there. That is what is there in Kerala. You can have a look. It's one of the famous temple in India. Right? So this is what we talked about in Kal. Right? And then, but in the end of, after describing all these things, Krishna makes a statement. And that is the 20th slok of 8th chapter. He says, yet all these things gets created and gets destroyed. And then he says, yet there is another unmanifest nature which is eternal, which doesn't get destroyed and is transcendental. Transcendental means it is beyond this material world. It transcends this material world to this manifested and unmanifested matter. All this thing that we talked about, origin, this is all, it gets created and dissolved, right? Again and again. But there is another transcendental planet which is above that, which is the abode which never gets annihilated, which is eternal, and that is where Krishna lives. That is the Golok Dham. That is where Krishna lives, and from there he is controlling all the things, right? So this is what we talked about in the 8th. And then we talked about that Krishna is the cause of all causes, where we talked about the taste in water, the light of the sun, the light of the moon. We all say Om, the Omkara. He says the syllable Om or the Vedic mantra is me, the sound in ether. He says the ability in the man is me, the fragrance of the earth is me, the heat in the fire is me, the life of all lives are me, the austerity of the or the aesthetics is me. So anything and everything you can think of is nothing but Krishna. And finally, Krishna says that everything that you see, it's like the what do you call it, necklace. All like, there is an unseen string which actually keeps all the beads together in the necklace. And he says, I am that unseen string which keeps everything together, right? That's what he says. And then this is how we summarized our last chapter. And then we started with chapter 9, first slok, where he said that what is the characteristics of the person who can absorb this knowledge? He should be non-envious. And what will happen if you receive this knowledge? He'll say, if you receive this knowledge, that person will he'll be able to break the cycle of birth and death. If you can understand and absorb this Gyan and Vigyan, you can actually break the cycle of birth and death. This is what we talked about. And then we went to the second slok where we talked. So let's start with the second slok. Please read after me. Rajavidya Rajaguhyam Pavitram Idamuttamam Pratyakshaavagamam Dharmyam Susukham Kartum Avyayam Rajavidya Rajaguhyam Pavitram Idam Uttamam Pratyakshaavagamam Dharmyam Susukham Kartum Avyayam. Rajavidya Rajaguhyam Pavitram Idam Uttamam Pratyakshavagam Dharmyam Susukham Kartum Avyayam. So these are the 8 characteristics we talked about the knowledge he's going to reveal. What is that 8 characteristics? That this is a Raj Vidya. It is the king of all knowledge. Whatever knowledge we would have learned till now, but this is the king of all knowledge. Why it is called the king of all knowledge? Whatever knowledge we have learned in any universities of the world, it's all about for the body, for the material advancement. But this is the knowledge which can only help you. This is the knowledge, if you get, it is a spiritual, it helps you to break the cycle of birth and death. Yeah. So this is the most important knowledge, because by learning this, you can actually free yourself from the cycle of birth and death. Yeah, but whatever knowledge you can think of that is being taught, there's no such knowledge which can help you to break the cycle of birth and death. So this is the Raj Vidya. Then it says Raj Guhyam. It is the most secrets. It's the secrets of all secrets. It's a king of all secrets. Why it is called most confidential? Because here you come to know that you are not this body. You are the soul. You are the soul. You are not this body. And when you have that realization that you are not this body and you are the soul, then you should do the activity which is for the soul, not for the body, right? So it reveals about the knowledge that you are the soul and what all it should be done. And it's a pavitram idam uttamam. Uttamam is the best, and pavitram is most pure, because this knowledge has the capability of even making demoniacs. If you read this knowledge, they can become a sadhu. Yeah. So whatever durachari, however you are, bad you are, if you can get this knowledge, then what will happen? You will actually you can purify yourself. You can actually purify and reach him. So that is pavitram idam uttamam. Pratyakshagamam dharmyam. Pratyakshagamam means this is the fifth characteristic. Pratyaksha means when you achieve this knowledge, you can see a direct change in the person who is receiving this knowledge. Yeah. And dharmyam, this is the highest of dharma. Why it is highest of dharma? In Bhagavatam, it says, what is the param dharma? There's a definition of what is the param dharma. Param is the highest dharma for a human. Now, if you consider yourself a soul, from a soul perspective, what is the param dharma? The param dharma is bhakti to adhokshaja. It is the bhakti to Krishna. That is the highest dharma. That is the dharma of a soul. That is the dharma of the soul. So it is dharmyam. It is the highest dharma. And susukham. Susukham means it gives you highest happiness. If you do devotional service to Krishna, you get highest happiness. Kartum avyayam. And avyayam means it is everlasting. It is something which doesn't finish for this lifetime. Even if you gain this knowledge, whatever you have gained, it travels with you, because it is the knowledge of soul. It never gets destroyed. It is eternal, right? This is what we talked about in the last class. So today we'll start with let's do the third shlok. Ashadhanah purusha धर्मस्यास्य परन्तप अप्राप्य मां निवर्तन्ते मृत्यु संसार वर्त्मनि अश्रद्धानाः पुरुषा धर्मस्यास्य परन्तप अप्राप्य मां निवर्तन्ते मृत्यु संसार वर्त्मनि अश्रद्धानाः पुरुषा धर्मस्यास्य परन्तप अप्राप्य मां निवर्तन्ते Mrityu Sansara Vartmani. Yeah. So let's see. Now here this is the third shlok where he's talking about again the knowledge he's going to reveal. And then says Ashraddhadhana Purusha means those people who does not have faith. Ashraddha means faith. Shraddha means faith. And Ashraddha means who does not have faith. On faith on what? Dharmasya. What is dharmasya? The knowledge that dharma the knowledge is going to reveal. If people don't have faith on this, parantapa. Who is parantapa? Parantapa is Arjun. Parantapa is the name of Arjun. Oh Arjun, those who does not have faith on this knowledge, aprapya mam. Prapya means will get. Aprapya means will not get. Will not get whom? Mam. To me. They will not get me. Nivartante mrityu sansara. And then what will happen? They will not get me, and then they will nivartante. They will return. Return to what? Mrityu sansara vartmani. To this material world and the cycle of birth and death. So those who don't have faith on this knowledge, what will happen? They can never get me, and when they cannot get me, what will happen? They will remain bound in this cycle of birth and death. So let's read the English translation. those who are not faithful in this devotional service cannot attain me. O conqueror of enemies. Therefore they return to the path of birth and death in this material world. Right? So I'll tell you a story. Yeah, I'll tell you a story about a cobbler and a Brahmin. Yeah. So what happened once, Naraji, we know he keeps on roaming here and there. So he was going to Vaikunt Lok, he was going to Vishnulok. So on the way, he passed a cobbler. So cobbler said, "Oh Naraji, where are you going?" He did his Dandvat Pranam. I said, "Where are you going?" He said, "I'm going to Vaikunt." He said, "Oh, you're going there. Can you please ask how many more lives I'll have to live here?" He says, he said, "Okay, fine, I'll ask him." Then he moves forward. He meets a Brahmin. He's doing all the Ved part and all his, he's busy in all his religious thing. He asked him again. He said, "Oh, Nanaji, it's so nice to see you in the morning." He made him sit. He gave him a lot of prasadam to eat and all. And they said, "Where are you going?" He said, "I'm going to meet to Vaikunt." He said, "Oh, you're going to Vaikunt. Can you please ask how many more, birth I have to live?" He said, "Okay, fine, I'll do that." Now he went there. He saw he had a chat where he spent some time with him. While coming back, he remembered that he had met Brahmin and cobbler, and both will ask him that what happened. So he asked, "You know what? On the way I met this Brahmin. So can you tell me that how many more lives he's going to live? Because I have to answer him." He said, "Oh, he'll take he'll take many more years to come back to me." He said, "Oh, is it? Many lives to come back to me." He said, "Oh, is it? What about the cobbler?" He says, "Cobbler, he'll come in this life itself." "How come?" He was like, he couldn't. He said, "How come?" He says, "Okay, do one thing. When you go back, just tell them that they'll ask you what was I doing. Just tell them I was taking out a thread. I was taking out an elephant from the needle hole. I was taking out a elephant from the needle hole." Nanaji was a bit, confused. So, okay, fine, I'll go and say. So he met Brahmin first. While coming back, he met the Brahmin first. So Brahmin welcomed him, and again he offered all the prasadam and said that, "Okay, so did you ask how many more lives I have to live?" He said, "Yeah." He said that, probably millions of lives. He said, "Ah, you actually didn't go there. Okay, tell me, if you went there, what was he doing?" He said, "Okay, what was he doing?" He was actually taking out the elephant from a needle. Now I know. I told you, you had not been there. You are just concocting some story. You have actually not been there. How is it possible? From morning to evening, I am doing all puja part. How is it possible that I will not reach in this lifetime? I'll not get moksha in this lifetime. Then he moved forward. He was like, "Okay, so this is the story." He answered. He got from the Brahmin. He moved forward. He met the cobbler. He said, "Cobbler." So he asked that. Again, he was very happy to see Narad. He said, so nice to see you. Now tell me, what did you ask him?" He said, "Yes, you probably will go in this lifetime itself." So he was like, he did Danvat Brahm, this and that. He was extremely happy. "Okay, please tell me, what was he doing?" He said he was actually taking out an elephant from a needle hole. And oh my God, how great he is, how good. I know he can do anything. So now Narad is confused. He says, "How come the Brahmin did not believe him, but this cobbler who's, how come he's believing him?" So he says, "Do you really believe that he was taking out elephant from a needle hole?" Now Narad is finding it difficult that, cobbler is believing him. Do you really believe that, that he was taking out the elephant from the needle hole? Cobbler is saying, "Yes. You see, I'm sitting under this banyan tree. And you see, from that seed, such a big tree he has put inside that seed. So he can do all impossible things. In such a small seed, he can capture such big trees. And this banyan tree, why can't he take out an elephant from a needle? He can do anything that he wants to." So this is called faith. This is called faith. If we use our what do you call it, our senses, which is so defective, our logic, which is so defective, which is so incomplete, to assess Lord, whatever prayers, whatever we do, it's all not it is not what do you call it, it is incomplete. What is important is a faith. And when you have faith, you say that faith can move mountains. Yeah. So when you have faith in him, then you don't have to worry. Yeah, then you don't have to worry. So it's the faith in cobbler which is going to help him to reach him. But although you are reading a lot of scriptures, but you doubt the very existence, you don't doubt the very Lord, then you will still have to take millions of lifetime till you have the faith, right? So very, very important. He says, especially, this confidential knowledge that he has been talking from 7th chapter onwards, he says, to understand this, you have to have faith and you should not be envious. If you have this, then only you will be able to understand this. Understood? So we go to the next shlok. This is now, and this section that we are going to start from 9.4 to 10, it's called Aishwarya Gyan. It is called Aishwarya Gyan, and this is Krishna's relationship with this world. Yeah. So let's go to the fourth shlok. Maya tatam idam sarvam jagat avyakta murtina मत्स्थानि सर्वभूतानि न चाहं तेष्व स्थितः मया ततम् इदं सर्वं जगत् अव्यक्तमूर्तिना मत्स्थानि सर्वभूतानि न चाहं तेष्व स्थितः. माताजी.
मया
ततम् इदं सर्वं जगत् अव्यक्तमूर्तिना मत्स्थानि सर्वभूतानि न चाहं तेष्व अवस्थितः. Yeah. So here say Maya tatam idam sarvam jagat. So here say Maya, by me. Now he's going to talk about a lot of things. It is inconceivable for us, just like the elephant from the needle. Yeah. That's why there's a preparation to understand his inconceivable energies. Yeah? Maya tatam idam sarvam. Maya is from me. Tatam is pervading. It's actually pervading. Idam sarvam jagat. Sarvam is all. Jagat is in the entire world, entire universe. What happens? Vyakta Murtina. It is me. I am pervading the entire universe. In what form? Avyakt Murtina. In what form? In Avyakt. What is the meaning of Vyakt? Vyakt means to have a form where you can see, your senses can see. And Avyakt means you cannot be seen. Vyakt is something which can be seen by our eyes, our senses. And Avyakt means it cannot be seen. Our eyes cannot see. Avyakta Murtina. In that form, he's actually pervading the entire universe. Matsthani sarvabhutani. Sarvabhuta. Sarvabhutani. Bhut is basically living entities.
All living beings.
And sarva is all. So all matsthani sarvabhutani. All living entities. Sthani is situated in me. In matsthani. They are in me. In me. Na chaham teshvavasthita. But no, I am not. Aham is I. But I am not. Tesha avasthita. But I am not situated in them. Let's read the translation. By me. In my unmanifested form. This entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me. But I am not in them. Yeah. So we always use this word unmanifested and manifested. Manifested means it is, you can see it. Unmanifested means avyakt. You cannot see. So so Krishna is everything is pervaded by him in the unmanifested form. So if you remember, when we're talking about the absolute truth, we talked about the three stages of absolute truth, and we talked about the realization. So we said that there's Brahma, then there's Paramatma, and there's Bhagwan. Brahma is that Brahma Jyoti, the light. Brahma Jyoti. Now, how is he pervading across in the entire world? Is by the light. That way, as a form of Brahma, he is pervading across. He's pervading in the form of Brahma in the entire universe, right? So this is the Brahma form of absolute truth, right? And then he says in the Sarvam Jagat, Avyakt Murtina. Avyakt Murtina means in the form of unmanifest form, right? So the question is that why are we not able to see it? Why are we not able to see it? It is because we are not purified. Our eyes are not purified.
Materialistic.
We are materialistic. We have that yeah. So our senses are defective. It is not pure. So it is we can't see it, but a pure devotee can see it. For example, remember Prahlad when Hiranyakashipu asked him, "Is he in the pillar?" He said, "Yes." So only a pure devotee whose all senses are all pure can see him. But people like us, totally impure, how can we see him? It is not that he is not there, but we are not purified enough to see him. Yeah. So in that form, he is there, but still his pure devotees are someone who can see him, right? So in Brahma Samhita, which is a Samhita written, which Brahma is speaking this, what do you call it, shlok, he says, Premanjana Charuta Bhakti Vilochinena Santah Sadeva Hridayeshu Vilokitana. It is, when you have the kajal, the anjan that you put in your eyes, of love in your eyes, and then only, and that with that love, if you have put in eyes for Krishna, then you can see it. Is that is a pure devotee, right? And then you can also think about the shlok that we talked about, Matta Sarvabharita, I'm the unseen strung of the entire things, right? So now we go to the next shlok, 5th. Na cha matsthani bhutani
न च मत्स्थानि भूतानि
pashya me yogameshwaram
पश्य मे योगमैश्वरम्
bhutabhinna cha bhutasto
भूतभृन्न च भूतस्थो
mam atma bhuta bhavana
ममात्मा भूतभावना
na cha matsthani bhutani
न च मत्स्थानि भूतानि
pashya me yogameshwaram
पश्य मे योगमैश्वरम्
bhutabhinna cha bhutasto
भूतभृन्न च भूतोऽस्मि
mam atma bhuta bhavana.
मम आत्मा भूतभावना.
Yeah, so one thing that I missed to talk about in the 4th shlok was Matsthani Sarvabhutani, means all living entities are in me, is what he's saying here. And just the reverse he'll say in the next shlok. Matsthani, sthani means they are situated in me, na chaham tish, but I am not in them, right? Now let's see in the fourth, Kritika, can you please repeat the shlok? Na cha matsthani bhutani pashya me yogameshwaram bhutabhinna cha bhutasto mam atma bhuta bhavana. Yeah, so here Krishna says, na cha matsthani bhutani. Now here is exactly what he said. He is going to reverse the statement. Na cha, not in me. Matsthani bhutani. The living entities are not in me. Pashya me yogameshwaram. Pashya means to see. Pashya means to see. Me yogameshwaram. Look at my mystic opulences. Yoga, Aishwaryam is opulences. What of Aishwaryam? Yoga, which is mystic opulences. Pashya me yogameshwaram. Look at behold my mystic opulence. Bhuta bhrinna cha bhutasto. Bhut bhrin means I am the maintainer. Bhuta bhrin cha bhutasto. I am the maintainer, and I am also the creator. They still stay in me. Mam atma bhut bhavana. In my atma and bhut bhavana, but I am the total bhut bhavana. I am the original. I am basically the creator. I am the one who is the origin for everything, is what he's talking about. So let's read the English translation. And yet everything that is created does not rest in me. Behold my mystic opulence.
Behold my mystic opulence.
Although I am the maintainer of all living entities,
Although I am the maintainer of all living entities,
and although I am
and
everywhere,
although I am everywhere,
I am not a part of this cosmic manifestation.
I am not a part of this cosmic manifestation.
For myself
For myself
is the very source of
is
creation.
the very source of creation.
Right? Let's read this again. And yet
And yet
everything that is created
Everything that is created
does not rest in me.
does not rest in me.
Behold my mystic opulence.
Behold my mystic opulence.
Although I am the maintainer of all living entities,
Although I am the maintainer of all living entities,
and although I am everywhere,
and although I am everywhere,
I am not a part of this cosmic manifestation.
I am not a part of this cosmic manifestation.
For myself
For myself
is the very source of creation.
is the very source of
So
creation.
that's why in the summary I specifically talked about that part, right? That he is the one. So again, let's talk about which we have talked about earlier. That the Purusha avatara of Krishna, we have the three avatara we talked about: Mahavishnu, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, and Shirodakshaya Vishnu, right? So Mahavishnu, when he breathes, the universe gets created. Garbhodakshaya Vishnu enters that universe and maintains that universe, that entire Brahmand. He maintains that. And Shirodakshaya Vishnu stays in the heart of every living entity as Paramatma. Right? He stays in heart of every living entity as Paramatma. And then we talked about the origin and dissolution, how he creates. So although everything gets created, so when the Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, when the entire material world gets created, he is creating it, but then it is given to someone to manage it. It is Durga Devi who is the manager for she's the manager for the entire material world, Mahamaya. So she manages the material world. She's a manager for she's responsible for managing this material world, right? But he's above that. He is basically, he creates it, but then he does not interfere into the day-to-day activity of what is happening in the material world. That is with Durga Devi. That is her department. She manages it. So he is, although everything is created by him, but he is not
Involved in the activities of the.
got it. So although everything is his, but he's still neutral to it. He's away from it. He's a source of creation.
He's not a bhokta.
He's not a karta bhokta in the material world, right? He's away from that. He's just watching. Yes. Yeah. So that is what is his what do you call it? So that now we can understand that. Now think about the planetary system in space. Yeah. So we know in the space we have all the planets that is moving around, right? And all this happens because of his energy. But still, he's not physically controlling it, right? It is one of his energy. It is one of his energy. So this is the inconceivable potency of Krishna. That everything is his, but he still is away. He is not irresponsible for, he's not doing it. He's a maintainer, but not directly. It is with someone like, involved, right? And then we can, this is called Achintya Shakti, the inconceivable thing, like the story of cobbler and Brahma that I talked about. So it is that with that faith only you can understand the inconceivable potency of the Lord, right? Now when we know when Krishna opened his mouth, the entire universe was seen inside him. The entire universe was seen inside him by Yashodhamma. Yeah? So you can imagine, this is the inconceivable potency of Krishna. When Markandeya Rishi, when he asked him to show him his Maya, what happened? He could see, he was taken inside his belly and everything was, he could see the entire Brahmand there. Right? So these are the inconceivable. So it is beyond our understanding. So we have to only by faith and non-envious, we can actually realize it. We can hear it. Hearing is different, but realization is the when we realize it, we actually our what do you call it? Our faith, we actually progress in our spiritual journey, right? Yes. Now we go to the next shlok, which is 9.6. Yatha kashthito nityam Vayu sarvatra go mahan tatha sarvani bhutani mastha nityapudharaya yatha akashthito nityah Vayu sarvatra go mahan.
Vayu sarvatra go mahan.
Tatha sarvani bhutani.
Tata sarvani bhutani.
Mastha nityapudharaya.
Masta nityopadaraya.
Mataji.
Yathakasha sthito nityam.
Yathakasha sthito nityam.
Vayu sarvatra go mahan.
Vayu sarvatra go mahan.
Tata sarvani bhutani.
Tatha sarvani bhutani.
Masta nitya upadaraya.
Mastha nityapudharaya. So now here Krishna is giving an example of his inconceivable energy. He says, Yatha akashito nityam. So if we can think about, we talked about earth, water, fire, ether, air, everything is his Panchabhuta. That is his material energy. Now he's giving his example of space, the sky. So something we can see sky, which is his ether, whatever we call it, that is his energy, his manifestation that we can see. And the air which is below, which is actually the sky below that we have all air covered with air, isn't it? He says, Yatha akashthito nityam. Vayu sarvatra go mahan. Just like Vayu, air, which is situated always nityam under the sky, and the sky sarvatra mahan, and keeps on moving here. Tatha sarvani bhutani. In the same way, tatha, this way, sarvani means all, bhutani is all living entities, masthani tyupudharya. They all rest in me. Wherever the air goes, finally it is under the sky and rest there. Similarly, all the living entities, whatever they happen, finally they will rest in me. So we talked about the origin and dissolution and how finally it actually reaches. I have not explained a word called Mahat Tattva. Maybe later I'll talk about that. So it finally rests in Krishna, right? So let's read the English translation. Understand that as the mighty wind, blowing everywhere, rests always in the sky, all created beings, rests in me. Yeah. So this is what is, he says, he gives an example of sky and wind. How everything that is moving, the air is always finally rests in the sky. Yeah. Similarly, everything is actually rests in him in the end. 9.7. Sarvabhutani Kaunteya Prakritim Yanti Mamikam Kalpakshe Punastani Kalpado Srijamyaham Sarvabhutani Kaunteya Prakritim Yanti Mamikam Kalpakshaye Punasthani Kalpado Visrijamyaham. Mataji.
Sarvabhutani
Kaunteya
Prakritim yanti mamikam Kalpakshaye Punasthani Kalpado Visrijamyaham.
So here Krishna says Sarva Bhutani. Sarva is all, Sarva Bhutani is living entities. Kaunteya is son of Kunti, which is Arjun, right? Prakritim is nature, material nature. Yanti Mamikam, it stays in me. Kalpakshe, how long? So the question is, how long will the jiva stay? He says everything stays me. In the Arjun may ask a question, okay, everything is in you till when? So he explains in this shlok, Kalpakshe. So when I was explaining about life of universe is equal to life of Brahma, then we talked about that one day of Brahma is 1000 into Chaturyug. And I said that is called one kalpa. That's called one kalpa. Now here the word is used. Kalpakshe. Akshay means, Akshay means which is cannot be destroyed. And Kshay means destroy. So Kalpakshe. When the kalp finishes, when it gets destroyed, when the kalp finishes, Punasthani. So till the kalp, when finishes, then everything gets destroyed. Punasthani, and again they come again. They again take birth when Kalpado. Kalpado means in the beginning. In the beginning of Kalpa, they get Visrijamyaham. Srijamyaham means I create. Srijamyaham means I create. So I create them in the beginning of Kalp, and at the end of the kalpa they get destroyed, right? So let's read the English translation. O son of Kunti,
O son of Kunti,
at the end of the millennium,
at the end of the millennium,
all material manifestation
all material manifestations
enter into my nature.
enter into my nature.
And in the beginning of another millennium,
And at the beginning of another
by
millennium,
by my potency,
by my potency,
I create them again.
I create them.
Yeah. So he is the origin, he is the maintainer, and he is the destroyer. So he is God. God, what is the full form of God? Generator, operator, and destroyer. So he is the generator, he is the operator, he is the destroyer. But he does not do it on his own. He has given this power to different what do you call it, people, departments. So someone is responsible for generating, that is Brahma, operator, maintenance Vishnu, and destroyer Shiva. Yeah. So he has given that. That's how the God operates, right? Srishtikata. So this is by my potency, I create them again. Now we go to the next shlok, which is 9.8. Prakritim swam avashtabhya
Prakritim swam avashtabhya
vrishyami punah punah
vishyami punah punah
bhutagramam imam kritsna
bhutagramam imam Krishna
avasham prakritir vashat
avasham prakritir avasham
prakritim swam avashtabhya
prakritim swam avashtabhya
vrishyami punah punah
vishyami punah punah
bhutagramam imam kritsnam
bhutagramam imam Krishnam
avasham prakritir vashat.
avasham prakritir vashat.
Yeah, Mataji.
Prakritim swam avashtabhya
Prakritim swam avashtabhya
vishyami punah punah
vishyami punah punah bhutagamam imam krishnam avasham prakritir vashat. So here, if you see, Krishna is talking about prakritim, which is nature. Swam avishtabhya. It's under my control. Vrishyami is created. Punah means again and again. It is again and again created. Bhutagramam imam Krishna. Bhutagramam is all the living entities. Krishna, it's by my will. They are avasham. They don't have vash. Avasham is they don't have control. Prakriti vashat, but they are under the control of Prakriti. Let's read the English translation. The whole cosmic order is under me. Under my will, it is automatically manifested. Again and again. And under my will, it is annihilated. At the end. Right? So this is what happens about the cosmic thing. How exactly it is all Krishna's energy. It gets created. So the question can come. Okay, then what about the living entity? The soul. What happens? So there's a word here called avasham. Avasham means vash means control. Vash means control. Avasham. Avasham means no control. So the living entity has no control over it. In this entire process, living entity, the soul, has no control over it. Prakritir vash. They are under the control of Prakriti. They are under the control of Prakriti. The material nature is controlling this. So basically, the question is, what happens when all these when the whole process of creation and creation is happening and destruction is happening? What happens to the living entity? So the living entity, when it's created, when the creation happens, it again takes a form. Now the form, how does it take the form? The form takes based on the karma. That's why there's a word called avasham. It is not in the hand. It's not in the control of the soul of where will he take birth, right? It is basically the soul does not choose the parents. It doesn't choose the location where it's going to be born, right? It is not in the control of the soul. Then why a soul gets a particular parents or a particular place where he or she is born? It is because of their karma. It is because of the karma that they get, and they get a particular parents, they get a particular place, they get a particular, so every time in your life wherever they meet people, it is because of their past karma. Also, what happens in their life is also because of the karma. Just to to relate to the daily life example, say you have a desire, you have a desire to go and eat dosa. You want to go to a restaurant and have a fine dosa. Now you have a desire. That is what a conditioned soul can do, a desire, and can go inside that restaurant to eat dosa, right? But when you are going inside the restaurant, who all will come and sit in your next table? How the environment will be, that is beyond your control. Neither you can question it, why is this person is sitting in this table, why can't you move? So once you have a desire, because of the desire, the conditioned soul, the soul, why we call it conditioned soul, why don't we call it just soul? A soul is pure, a soul is pure. He or she is a part of Krishna. But then what happens? The condition is because of the karma, the type of karma the soul has performed, the type of the work, that is a burden, goodness, passion, and ignorance, whatever. Accordingly, there is a wrapper around the soul, which is, then that's why it's called that wrapper. Along with it's called conditioned soul. The soul gets conditioned in the form of goodness, passion, and ignorance. Now, because of those karma that he or she has performed, they actually take birth in this they again come back when the creation has to happen. They come back and again, what do you call it, fulfill their dues and live their life. Then the question is, can I change the karma? Now what happens is, when you come in this, when you come in this life, again we keep on doing any actions. Whatever action we will do, there will always a reaction to it. Whatever action we are doing, there's a reaction to it. So we have talked about that bank. We have talked about the bank, where whatever action, a positive bank balance, and a negative bank balance. Whatever, if we are doing good deeds, it goes into the positive bank balance. When we do a bad deed, it goes into the negative balance. And then accordingly, we'll have to come to this material world to suffer or to enjoy those karma. So we talked about the word karma into three parts. We talked about karma, vikarma, and akarma. Karma is good karma, vikarma is bad karma, and there's something called akarma. Akarma means no reactions. So how can you actually exit this? Because whenever there's a positive balance or a negative balance, you have to come and live here. How can you neutralize it? You have to do akarma. What is akarma? Akarma is whatever you are doing, you have to offer it to Krishna. When you offer it to Krishna, all the reactions of your karma is actually absorbed by him. All the reactions of your karma, and whatever you take from his becomes prasad. So then that becomes a karma, where the reactions are not taken by you. And that's how you can nullify the positive and negative reactions. And when you get this a karma, what happens? You can actually come out, you can actually, come out of this bondage of cycle of birth and death. So very, very important for that is what? Chant, chant, and chant. The more you chant, the more you develop your relationship with Krishna. And the more you develop your relationship with Krishna, the more you'll purify yourself. The more you will purify, the more you will get inclined towards a karma. The more you'll get inclined towards a karma. And this is how we can actually help ourselves to break the bondage of birth and death, right? So we go to the next slok now. न च मां तानि कर्माणि निबध्नन्ति धनञ्जय उदासीन वदासीन असक्त तेषु कर्मसु न च मां तानि कर्माणि निबध्नन्ति धनञ्जय उदासीन वदासीनम् असक्तं तेषु कर्मसु. कृतिका. न च मां तानि कर्माणि निबध्नन्ति धनञ्जय उदासीन वदासीनम् असक्तं तेषु कर्मसु. So now Krishna is saying, na cha mam tani karmani nibadhanti. Nibadhanti is bondage. Dhananjaya. Oh Arjun, Dhananjaya is Arjun. Oh Arjun, I I do not get bound by all these karma that is happening. Udasina, I remain udasina, but means I am neutral. I remain neutral. I'm just watching. Yeah. Asina asakta teshu karmasu. Yeah. So let's read. O Dhananjay, all this work cannot bind me.
All this work cannot bind me.
I'm ever detached
I'm never detached
from all these material activities,
from all these material activities.
seated as though neutral.
Seated as no neutral.
Yeah. So here Krishna says, all this activity happens, but I'm really not bothered about all the living entities that goes into the world. Why I've created this material world? Because the conditioned soul wanted to enjoy away from me. Because you wanted to enjoy away from me, based on your karma, I have sent you to this material world. You go and live the way you want, and I don't want to bother. I don't want to bother. But the thing is, does it mean that I don't care for you? No. I'm just watching you, just like a father, a parent. The child, when the child grows up and goes away from the child, parents don't say anything. They're just waiting for the child to come back, look back, right? Similarly, what Krishna does, when those till you're enjoying, you're busy in enjoying, you based on your karma, you will keep on taking birth and death, and you'll be in that cycle. But the time you realize and you say, no, where I'm now tired, I want you. And when you look at him, he's waiting. He says, when you look at him and say, I'm surrendering unto you, he with open arms, he will embrace you. With open arms, he will embrace you. And that's why he says, Devi Hesha Gurumai Mam Maya Duratya. He says, this material world, this is my divine energy. This material world, this Durga Devi is my divine energy. And Mama Maya Duratya, this is my Maya. This is my Maya. And to cross this Maya is extremely difficult. Duratya, it is extremely difficult. Mameva ye prapadyante. But Mam eva ye prapadyante. Those who prapadyante, surrender to me. Those who surrender to me, mayam etam tadantite. What I do, I help them to cross this material world. I become the boat. I help them to cross this material world and come to me. So if you want to enjoy, go ahead. Because you wanted to enjoy, I've sent you this material. I've created this material world. I've sent you there. Go and enjoy. But then the day you realize that you are actually getting bound in this birth and death again and again, then when you feel, when you see, and when you need me, and when you surrender yourself to me, you remember me, then and you become my devotee, then you surrender to me. I'm ready with my open arms to welcome you and take you, right? And so what is the first process for that? Is chanting, hearing and chanting. Because unless you hear, you don't know. And when you don't know, how will you do it? Yeah. So the first process in devotional service is hearing. The more you hear, the more you will gain knowledge, what is written as scriptures, and you get your more knowledge, then you can do those activities to break the cycle of birth and death. And the last slok for today, which is Mayadhyakshena Prakritihi Suyate Sacharaachara Hetunanena Kaunteya Jagat Viparivartate Maya Adhyakshena Prakritihi Suyate Sacharacharam Hetunanena Kaunteya Jagat Viparivartate. So, yeah, Mataji. Maya Adhyakshena Prakritihi Suyate Sacharacharam Hetunanena Kaunteya Jagat Viparivartate. Now here says Maya Adhyakshena Prakriti. Prakriti is material nature. Maya is my. Adhyakshen is under my supervision, under my adhyakshen, under my control. Under my supervision or under my control is what? Prakriti. The material nature is in my control, under my control. Suyate Sachacharachara. And then Suyate is producing. What is it producing? All char and achar. Char means moving and achar is non-moving. So creating all the charachara, all the moving and non-moving thing is getting produced under my adhyakshen, under my control, under my supervision, it's happening. Hetu nanena kaunteya jagat viparivartate. And under its rule, this beneficial is created, and under its rules, beneficial is created and created again and again. This is happening again and again. So let's read the English translation. this material nature, which is one of my energy, is working under my direction. O son of Kunti, producing all moving and non-moving beings. Under its rule, this manifestation is created and annihilated again and again. Right? So basically, that's what now we are reading the most confidential knowledge. Why it's most confidential? Because Krishna is revealing himself. He is telling about himself. Now you will not go and reveal yourself in front of everyone. You will only reveal yourself in front of your dear ones, your devotees, who who are non-envious and who have full faith in you. Yeah. So this section is for people who are non-envious, who have faith in Krishna, right? And that's why he's opening. He's saying, so just for everyone to know that anything and everything, it's only him, nothing else. It's only him, nothing else. So what we have to do, we have to surrender to him. We have to chant his glory. We have to chant, because it's very, very important. We are actually drowning in this world. And what we need to do by chanting, we have to actually get his attention, purify ourselves so that he looks at us, because when we look at, he will help us to cross this material ocean. Yeah. So with this, we will end today's class.